Hi, Tom Walls, Carbide Processors. Just got a question from a customer about what kind of Braze alloy he should use. Brings up two things. One, the kind of Braze alloy, and two, the form of the Braze alloy. This is the saw blade. Tungsten carbide tip, steel saw body. As you heat it up during the brazing process, the steel will grow 4 to 6 times as much as the carbide. When you take the heat away, they lock into place and keep shrinking. The steel is going to shrink more than the carbide, so it's going to put stress on the carbide. In this case, it's a small piece of carbide, it's a thick piece of carbide, and there's a couple of thousandths of Braze alloy in between, so this will work beautifully. If you get into a situation such as this, with a router bit, or with shapers or cutters, you may need to go to a tri-metal, a ply-metal, a sandwich. It has various names. As you approach, the standard has been somewhere a ½ inch to an inch. If you have a piece of carbide that's a ½ inch or an inch, call it a ½ inch or more in any dimension, you may want to consider using a tri-metal. What a tri-metal is, it's a layer of Braze alloy, and in the middle is a layer of copper, typically a 1 to 2 to 1 ratio. What happens at brazing temperature is that the copper anneals to a dead soft condition. So when you have the steel pulling on the carbide as they shrink, you are going to have a nice thick layer of copper in the middle, which will absorb the stress. Otherwise, you can see the parts crack as they cool, in the worst case. So we think there's Braze alloy as wire. It all starts out as wire. Then it gets rolled into ribbon, and ribbon can work awfully well in automatic machines. And then there's tri-metal, which is 2 ribbons of Braze alloy on either side of a ribbon of copper. The stuff is pretty easy to work with. If you're doing custom parts, retipping or whatever, you can cut it with a good pair of desk scissors. Then you get into different kinds of Braze alloy. For brazing carbide, the bag 3, the 50% with cadmium, is the standard. It's still the best, but there are real dangers in cadmium. You can't breathe it, and what's maybe a bigger danger to a business is the fact that cadmium fumes, and I have had friends who have gotten caught with cadmium dust, unacceptably high levels of cadmium dust on the overhead beams. So cadmium is, you can still use it if you use it safely and keep your shop clean. 50% cad free is about 30–40% weaker than the bag 3, the 50% with cadmium. There's a 49% with manganese. It's about as strong as the original bag 3 with cadmium, but it's harder to work with. Guys, a lot of guys just don't like it. It's a gummier Braze alloy. You can go down to a 40% or even a 30% silver if you've got big parts. The 30 to 40% silver Braze alloys do not have the strength of the 50, 49, 56% because they have less silver. But we're measuring strength in pounds per square inch, so if you have a bigger area, you've got more holding force there, so you can get by with less silver. Let's see. Oh, there's one more. The 56% silver we sell as a hobby alloy. It flows beautifully. It's a nice color match for stainless steels. Very easy to use. In most carbide applications, we consider it too weak for, well, consider it too weak for something like this, a precision saw. And this is a metal cutting saw. So, but anyway, that's about it. There's a brief one on why you do it. So if you're brazing something like this, excuse me, you're safest with a tri-metal ribbon, probably 10 thousandths to 15 thousandths. You can cut it out with a pair of scissors. You dip it in some flux, you put it between the steel and the carbide and heat it up. and you're good to go. We'll sell you all you want. Right now, it's there's a higher cost of fabrication, but it uses less silver, so it's actually cheaper than a solid than a solid Braze Alloy ribbon. The safest way to do it is the tri-metal Braze Alloy. You can use a 50% cad-free on either side, or a 49% with manganese on either side if you want more strength. 50% cad-free on either side of a ribbon about 10 thousandths, 12 thousandths, 15 thousandths thick is widely used in the industry. We can get it for you and get it whatever width you want. I guess that's it. There's just a brief overview. If you had any more questions, we'd be more than happy to help you. Thanks. Bye.